Yo, my name's Walt. Most of you may know me as Not Your Grandpa's Frontier on Instagram. A lot of people have been telling me I need to make a YouTube channel because I'm always up to some cool stuff, apparently. I live in Colorado. I work at a ski resort and manage 2 rental shops in the winter and a mountain bike rental shop in the summer. So, got some pretty good accessibility. I'm out here, right across the street from Beaver Creek. Got a lot of fun hobbies. I like to just do a lot of stuff myself and just learn. So, with that comes a lot of cool content, right? A lot of stuff that won't fit into a 60-second Instagram video. So that's what I'm here, kind of what I'm here to do now, is just put together some videos of maintenance and DIY projects and of all the time that I spend just hanging out here in the garage. Obviously, got the dirt bike, got the mountain bike, all my camping gear and toys and tools behind that. So yeah, just wanted to introduce myself and kind of get this channel going. Maybe take you through a little walk around with the truck here and just show you what it's all about.
All right, time to do a walk around with the truck. It's a little snowy outside here, so it seemed like an appropriate time to do it. Like I said, this thing is a 2019 Nissan Frontier SV. It's 4x4, obviously, crew cab, auto transmission. It's basically the cheapest truck I could get in 2019 with 4-wheel drive and Bluetooth radio. So that being said, I'll show you what all I've done to this thing here so far. She's sitting on 37-inch General Grabber ATX tires, some 17-inch KMC GRS wheels. The wheels are 9 inches wide, positive 18mm offset. So if you don't know, positive pushes them into the truck, negative brings them out. So they're tucked in there pretty nice. I do have 1.5-inch spacers on the rear wheels to kind of match the front. It's front's 3 inches wider from the Titan swap. The sliders that you're seeing there are custom from First Choice Fabrication, a shop in Denver. They painted them, welded them on there for me. And this was pre-COVID, obviously. It was about $400 at the time, so not finding any good deals like that anymore. Did mention that this thing is Titan swap. So for the suspension, I said this thing's about 3 inches wider than stock. We've got some SPC upper control arms in there. For the coilovers, we're rocking the All Dogs Off-Road modified Fox 2.5 remote resi coilovers, which get about 4.5 inches of lift, or about 10 inches of travel, bump to bump. And then steering, just got stock Titan inner and outer tie rods. Nothing fancy there because they're super easy and cheap to replace. So doing that, haven't had any issues. And then the diff, we've got the Titan front diff as well. We've got that M205 in there. Rocking some 410 gears and a TRE 4x4 E-locker, which has been super strong. Haven't had any issues with that either. This thing's pretty tried and true. Skid plates, we've got some hefty fab steel skid plates underneath. Definitely need me some steel. The aluminum just wouldn't cut it. I absolutely get my money's worth out of these things. Fog lights there. You're looking at the Diode Dynamics fog lights. Insanely bright, much brighter than stock. These things are dang near as bright as my headlights are. They're just like these pod lights or anything. They've been great. 2 pod lights are the Rough Country pod lights. They're actually the fog light kit that they sell for the Frontiers. Just since repurposed them after I got the diode ones. And those are sitting on the Wham hidden winch mount, just hanging onto a 9.5K Smitty built winch. Came with a steel line, replaced it with a synthetic some time ago. I did reroute the plug for the winch. Normally, you kind of have to sneak your hand up in there, find the plug. I bought an extension, plugged it in, ran it around at the front of the bumper. And that's gonna sit right in here, which makes it so much easier to find when you're in a pinch. You're kind of, stuck up in something. Snorkel, Iron Man snorkel. I think I got that on a Black Friday deal for like $150 or something. These are just the Road Shock Harbor Freight ditch lights, Max Gear Armor ditch light brackets, and then that is my Midland GMRS radio antenna there, just clipped onto the side. Rear bumper, looking at the CJD Racing rear bumper. This is just how it comes. He powder coats it when he ships it, before he ships it out. I haven't modified this thing in any way. Rooftop tent. It's going to be the roof space 2-person tent. I've been loving this thing so far. I've been through like 3 or 4 different setups between the rack and the tent combos, and this thing's been tried and true. This is the rack. Currently is the Kuat Ibex rack. I had this thing in the full height and the mid height configurations. I had the Yakima rack first. I had a wild top canvas topper second. This has been my 3rd and 4th setup, and like I said, I'm loving it. Super modular, lots of places for mounting points and everything. Moving on into the bed. First thing you're going to see is the rear view camera for my Wolf Box rear view camera, just kind of tucked up in the rack there nicely. Do keep the 37-inch spare just laying down in the bed. Strap that down to the Unistrut, which is just kind of a DIY situation. The Pro4Xs come with these already built into the bed. I just got some stuff from Home Depot. Put some on the back wall as well. That's hanging onto my high lift mount. The Pro4Xs do come with rails on the side. I do not have those. Obviously, you have to get a bit more creative with the mounting points. I do keep the ladder for the roof tent in there full time. And then this strap here, this is what I wrap my diesel heater onto when I take that thing off-roading with me. I usually keep a little soft shackle or something there within arm's reach. It's just handy to have. You don't have to go digging when you're stuck. This bed mat is out of a 3rd gen. I think it was like 70 bucks on Amazon though. This is the only thing that doesn't fit perfectly. It's just this little corner piece there. Everything else is fine. This bit is cut up because I used to have a different setup in here with the wooden box and everything. Yeah, it's been great. You know, it's not the biggest bed in the world, but does everything I needed to. And for the rear suspension, since I'm back here, so we've got the Niztec 2-inch lift shackles, RIP Niztec. We got the Fox 2.5 remote resi shocks to match. And then the leaf springs. This is the OEM Nissan Frontier leaf spring. I removed the overload leaf on the bottom. I added the All Dogs Off-Road 6-pack add-a-leaf, which is 3 leaves to each pack. And then I actually bolted in a 1-inch block into the bottom of the leaf pack as well to compensate for the lack of height from the overload leaf. And it also scooches the axle back towards the rear an inch to kind of keep those wheels recentered in the wheel wells so they don't rub as much. Yeah, ballistic fab diff cover on the rear. This is just the M226 out of an Xterra, actually. So those of you with a keen eye may have noticed that I have leaf spring perches top and bottom. They said this axle actually came out of an Xterra, so we had to do some custom stuff to it. There's shock mounts as well. They're custom. They're actually just shock skids that we welded onto the axle. So nice and beefy. Don't ever have to worry about dragging them or bending them up on anything. And then the bump stops that I have on the rear are Durabump U-bolt flip kit meant for a Toyota Tacoma. The rear axle diameter is the same though, so as long as you get the right U-bolt lengths, then no issues there bolting up. Can't really see it from here, but I do have a steel drive shaft made from a shop down in Denver. I believe it was like Boulder Driveline was the name. That thing was about 500 bucks. Definitely a worthwhile upgrade. I drug the aluminum on some rocks a few times and got pretty lucky, so I was able to keep this thing rolling. Speaking of bump stops though, I mentioned that earlier. For the rear, I do have Perry Parts bump stops, which are those 3D printed ones. Super cool. Love them. Those things have been holding up great. No issues, hot and cold. They're so much smoother than the rubber ones that I originally had. All right, let's go on to the inside here. Show you what we're working with on the inside of the truck. Nothing too fancy. I'm gonna click the keys on just so you can kind of see everything that we're working with here. Got my Midland GMRS radio hardwired into the truck. Just the little walkie-talkie there, mounted onto the side. I've got I actually just installed this. I've got the little RAM arm kit for the dash panel there. This has been here for quite some time. My switch panel, it's Thrashed Off-Road, RIP to them, another company that went out of business, but that's just screwed into the dash piece there. I've got rear lights on the bumper. I've got those 2 pod lights on the front bumper. Oh no, sorry, those are my ditch lights on the windshield. And then I've got a fan for my transmission as well, my transmission cooler. I'll pop the hood a little bit and show you guys about that. But yeah, not many mods to the interior. Obviously, so you got the Wolf Box rear view camera, which is pretty neat. You can actually scroll up and down. This thing is such a wide fisheye lens. Gives you a really cool view. What else we got? We got some seat covers from Facebook. I think they're like the Cover King seat covers, or Covercraft. Honestly, couldn't even tell you. But these have been nice. They're machine washable, and they just keep the dust and dirt from soaking into the seats. I think that's about it. Let me scooch around to the back seat and show you what we got in there. All right, so this is going to be our fridge 12-volt solar setup. I've got the Renogy slim solar panel just stuck to the roof with 3M tape. The wires run down the back and in through the vent up to the Renogy charge controller mounted on the side wall here, which then flows to the battery. I have a 100 amp hour lithium ion battery in this box here. Just some 12 volt plugs. I got some USB plugs on the other side. This will power my fridge and my diesel heater in the wintertime, or just charge any other little random things that I needed to. This platform, obviously I've removed the whole seat back here. It does bolt into the factory locations. So if I were ever to flip this truck, it would definitely stay in place. Ask me how I know. Just keep my impact and my drill underneath here. Just, you know, keep like a saw, some gloves, some random bits in there. Oh, one little thing. I do like to keep a tree strap under my seat. I have a spill kit in there as well, and I keep my winch remote in our secondary hidden glove box, because again, you know, I've been in too many predicaments where you end up getting stuck, needed to winch out, and then it's not the time to be digging through a back bin or underneath your seats. Everything that you need in emergencies, you should have, you know, within arm's reach. So got all that good stuff there. Pop the hood, show you what I got underneath. All right, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I said I have a fan on my transmission cooler. That's what you're gonna find right inside here. It's basically just zip tied on there, nothing fancy. I run 12 volts to the switch panel, and whenever I'm off-roading, I flick that thing on, keeps the trans nice and cool when I'm, you know, using a lot of power but not going too fast before low. For my battery, got the biggest one I could fit in there. I think it's a group 34, I want to say, or H6 AGM it looks like. The battery terminals, those are the Rugged Rocks battery terminals. You do have to kind of modify your terminals there. You have to slice off the crimp end of your negative terminal. The front just unbolts, but it makes it super easy to add all your extra components. I've got my winch ground, I've got the grounds for the switch panels and everything on there. So this is the main control hub for the switch panel, where I've got all my little auxiliary lights running to. I've got my little fuses, one for the switch panel, one, I'll go back inside, I'll show you. I added a Blue Sea fuse box down by my feet, which powers some other accessories. I'll poke my head back in there, show you guys a bit. But yeah, so nothing fancy, just a stock air intake plumbed to the snorkel. That is for the Blue Sea fuse box. We'll talk about that again in a second there. I just make sure that it only gets power when I'm in accessory mode. And then, yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, I do have the, let's see, where is it? I don't know if you can see it too well, but I do have the Z1 intake manifold spacer down on there. Did that when I replaced my spark plugs. Jump the hood in real quick. I'm gonna try to get my phone flashlight out while I'm doing this. But yeah, so then we've got our Blue Sea fuse box, right? That powers my front locker, my rear locker, my GMRS radio, and I think something else. I forget what's even on there. I can't actually see right now just because of the angle. But yeah, like I said, that only gets power when the keys are in the ignition, which is super nice, so you don't have to worry about leaving stuff on when you turn the car off. And then I believe that's it. Can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Nope, this is what I wanted to show you. I've got my switches here for my lockers. Like I said, I got the rear locker and the front, running off the Blue Sea switch panel underneath my feet. All right, now that should wrap it up with the inside. So, if there's anything that I don't go over, anything I missed, anything you guys are curious about, anything you want to see in the future, obviously just drop a comment, shoot me a message, let me know, and try to cover it in another video. Thanks.